Hi, Asid. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, miss.
Right. Right. Let me just share my screen. Just give me a moment. So last week we had started on descriptive writing. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to break down descriptive writing for you today. We're going to discuss what descriptive writing is, what it looks like, okay? And then we can start to do descriptives. Okay? First, I'll break down the whole process for you. Material up for us to work on. How was your week? Is there anything you did in school?
Miss, I have holiday.
Oh, you haven't started school yet?
Yeah, miss. Next week will be my school, miss.
Oh, okay. Are you opening school by first or after the first? I think on third, which is the Monday, right?
Miss, the school is starting at the 1st of September.
Isn't first on like first is Sunday? Maybe Monday, right? Second.
Probably, miss.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No problem. I'm just going to share my material. So what you're going to do once you start school is I want you to send me any syllabus or any material that you might have been given in school so that we can go through those as well, right?
Okay, miss.
Yeah. So what do you know about descriptive writing? Have you ever done it before, other than the time that I introduced it to you in class? Have you done it before?
I think so, miss. I've done it before. I think so, miss. I've done it before, miss.
Okay, what do you remember about it?
Um, like it has adjective in it,
What
and
else?
like it describes the character or the places.
Anything else?
No, miss. That's it, miss.
Right. I'm just going to share here on the screen.
Miss, I have a question.
Yes.
Are you half Pakistani and half Kenyan, Miss?
You could say that because my mom's from Pakistan, so we can say that. Right, let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay. So you just told me that descriptive writing has a lot of adverbs and adjectives, and that's correct, right? We do have a lot of adverbs and adjectives in our descriptive writing because adverbs and adjectives are used for description purposes, right? Adverbs describe verbs, they describe other adjectives, they describe how something is done because a verb is an action word, right? So an adverb describes a verb. It tells us how something is done, how quickly something is done, how nicely something is done, how easily something is done, and whatnot. So similarly, adjectives and nouns, they give us further information on nouns, like how tall a person is, how short a person is, how a person looks. And I talked about character descriptions, that comes under adjectives as well. We have adjectives like colors to tell us what something looks like. So both adverbs and both adjectives help us describe the situation, right? It helps us describe adverbs, it describes verbs, it helps us describe adjectives. And it just helps us understand or get more information into what is happening and just understand the text or understand the situation a lot better. Now, what do we include in a descriptive writing is pretty basic. We have most common thing as adverb and adjectives, which is already something that you mentioned. That's the most common inclusion is adverbs and adjectives. Okay. The next thing that we look at is strong vocabulary. So no matter what you're writing, your vocabulary has to be up to par. It has to reflect the grade level you're in. So for example, if you are in year 10, your vocabulary has to go beyond nice, it has to go beyond good, it has to go beyond bad, you know, and you have to use stronger words like horrible, devastating, amazing, extraordinary, or beautiful, breathtaking, spectacular. Those are the kind of words we're expecting from someone in year 10 to be able to use over just the basics of yes, no, okay, good, bad, okay? Following so far? Are you still with me?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. And then we obviously have the most basic things like figurative language or literary devices, which is what we were working on the other day. You know, similes, we were working on metaphors, personification, all of those things come under figurative language and literary devices. And those are the things that are very important in any type of writing, but they're most important in descriptive writing because it gives details. It explains the situation better. It explains the information that we need to, and it just makes things so much easier for the person that's reading to understand what is happening. Okay, and we focus a lot on five senses. Do you know what five senses I'm talking about?
Miss, I know what this five senses is, Miss.
Can you tell me what it is? What are the five senses?
Five senses are hearing, smelling,
Mm-hmm.
looking, um, feeling,
And tasting.
tasting.
Yeah. So when we talk about five senses in descriptive writing, what we mean is that we need to write our sentences in such a way that the person reading, their senses are triggered. They can almost feel as though they're there. It's almost as if they can see the situation in front of their eyes. They can hear the things that you were hearing. That's the purpose of descriptive writing, is to make the writing so detailed, so descriptive that the person reading it can imagine the situation as if they were present at that time, as if they were experiencing it for themselves. Okay? Which brings us to the second point, which is show, not tell. The five senses, or the description of the five senses, helps us show and not tell. So we're not going to tell them that it smells like this. We're going to describe
Miss,
it to
I
them.
Miss, I have learned like the five senses and show no tell, Miss. I've learned that, Miss, from my school, Miss.
All right, perfect. That's good. That's good. So obviously, you know that in that case, that show not tell means that we're creating imagery. Imagery is a figurative technique, but imagery means that the person reading what you've said, reading that show not tell, reading the five senses description, they're able to imagine what is happening in front of their own eyes. That's the point of using these techniques in descriptive writing, is to make the person reading the work feel like they were present in that situation. Okay. The next thing is that obviously we're going to create a lot of mood and atmosphere, right? Do you know what mood and atmosphere is?
Yes, Miss.
Can you explain it to me?
Mood means happy, sad, angry, mad.
Mm-hmm.
These moods. Atmosphere means like is it the environment?
Yeah, the environment, basically expanding upon the setting of something, just talking about how maybe there's a storm, or maybe it's sunny out there, or maybe it's like a sad kind of situation or scary situation.
Oh,
We're
Miss,
just
Miss, even I watched a video, Miss,
hmm that's
for this
nice.
in my school, Miss. Like there was a girl and she was in the jungle and
Mm-hmm.
she has to be like in a maze and like there's like no one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that situation, that setting that they described, that environment that they described, how she must have been scared, that was her mood. And the environment was eerie, it was creepy, that was the atmosphere, right? So both of those two things, the mood and the atmosphere, the mood of the character, the mood of the situation, the atmosphere of the setting, all of those things amplify or make your descriptive writing so much better. They make the descriptive writing advanced. They just make it more intricate, more detailed, more beautiful. And it's that much nicer to read because there's so much detail in it that it feels like you're part of the situation. And that's what makes people want to continue reading the situation. Okay. And then obviously we have our description as per prompt. So as per prompt means that whatever prompt you've been given, whether it's to describe a scary house, or to describe a busy bus station, or to describe a scene at the airport, all of those different descriptions will have to be done as per the prompt. So you have to describe what is being asked of you. So it's not just about describing something, it's about describing exactly what is asked of you. So if it's asking you to describe an airport, that's what you're going to do. So try to describe as per prompt, try not to stray away from what the prompt is asking you to do. Okay. And obviously, if you have characters and if you have descriptions, they have to have their separate vocabulary as well. So characters obviously have different adjectives and different adverbs that we can use to describe them. Description of the scenery has different adverbs and adjectives. So you have to familiarize yourself, again, coming and tying in back to the strong vocabulary point, that you have to make sure that the vocabulary you're using is relevant, the vocabulary you're using is ideal for the person or the thing that you are describing. Okay. Following so far? Are you still with me, Asad?
Yeah, Miss, I'm writing notes, Miss.
Okay. I want you to respond to me every once in a while so that I know you're listening, okay?
Okay, Miss. Are you okay, Miss?
Yeah, I'm okay. Why?
I'm just asking, Miss.
Thank you. No, I'm okay. All right. So along with your notes, we can just add all of this information, and we can say that figurative language, vivid details, even precise language, meaning relevant language, is important to the way that we're writing or to what we're writing. And organizing our information is very important as well, because every essay of ours is at least 5 paragraphs. Our structure of any essay is 5 paragraphs, which is an introduction and then a conclusion and then 3 main body paragraphs that come between the introduction and the conclusion, right? So our 5 paragraphs, again, have to be structured in a way that makes sense. They have to be chronological. It has to be in the order of events that have taken place. We can't talk about something that happened in the end in the beginning, and we can't talk about something that happened in the beginning in the end. So chronological right time or chronological order is very important, which is basically the time of events. And then obviously your organization, where you're talking about something, the setting, the order of importance, how things happen, how a person felt, how a person thought, what the person did. All of that is very important for descriptive writing, which is why descriptive writing is perfect for improving your English in the long run, because it talks about so many different things. It covers so many different aspects that it can um, just help you learn or improve your English or your English structure overall. Now I have a little activity for you. So I'm just going to pull this to the bottom. Now, before we start actually writing a passage or writing anything descriptive, I want us to do a small activity. I'm sending you a small table. On one side, we have telling sentences, and on the other side are blank spaces for you to write showing sentences. The first one has been done for you and is as an example. The telling sentence is that the old man stood in the grass and relaxed as the sun went down. The showing sentence is the grass caressed his feet and a smile softened his eyes. A hot puff of air brushed against his wrinkled cheek as the sky paled yellow, then crimson, and within a breath, electric indigo. So the showing sentence, as you can see, has used adjectives of color, has used very descriptive words, very descriptive writing to describe the sunset and how the man felt and how the man was relaxing, instead of just saying that the old man stood and the sun went down. We've given a lot more details. The showing sentence is also a lot longer than the telling sentence. So what you need to do is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 telling sentences on the left-hand side. I want you to change those telling sentences into showing sentences. Do you think you can attempt that task?
Miss, can I have a simple one? Then it's hard for me, Miss.
Try the first one. The first one is very simple. The boy pulled a large fish out of the river. Why don't you try that first? We'll go one at a time. So obviously, with the boy pulled a large fish out of the out of the river, you can talk about large. You can use synonyms for large, like a ginormous fish. You can talk about how the fish might have moved or flapped around as it came out of the water. You can use the sense of maybe smell to talk about how it smelled very weird, because obviously fish has a distinctive smell. Just try to incorporate a few of those techniques into it. Let's start with this one simple sentence first, and then we'll move on to the next one.
Miss, I think I can do the first one, Miss.
Okay, if I do the first one, will you do the next 4? Because I want you to try it out as well. I don't want you just rely on me. I don't mind helping you, but I want you to be able to try it out yourself. So I'll help you with the first one, and then I want you to try out the rest. Again, there's nothing wrong with um being wrong or making mistakes, because obviously we're learning how to fix it. So even if you make a mistake, it's okay. It's always a learning point. So let me help you turn the first one, or the second one in this case, to a showing sentence. So now we want to describe how the boy pulled it out of the water. Okay. So we can say that the water splashed as the boy's arms strained. His knuckles a stark white around the fishing rod. Okay, so one, I've described how he was pulling the fish out of the water. We talked about how his knuckles were clenched around the fishing rod, right? How they were completely, using every strength that he had. He was using every strength that he had to hold on to that fishing rod, to pull that fishing rod. We talk about the straining of his muscles because he's trying his best. Obviously, he's a young boy. So we want to focus on how he's trying his best. He's using all his energy in pulling that fish out of the water. As we talk about the strain of his muscles. You could have talked about anything over here. We could have even addressed his face. We could say that his face pulled taut with pain, or it pulled taut, showing us the strength that he was putting into the situation. So we can describe anything that tells us that the boy was putting his all into pulling the fish, right? So we could either focus on his arms as he was pulling them, we could focus on the features on his face as he was pulling them. That's completely up to you. The purpose is to show, not tell. So we can do that with any of those features, either the face to show how he was, scrunching his face together in pain, trying to pull the fish out, or in this case, we focused on his muscles and his knuckles as he was holding the fishing rod. And then I can say with a deep heave. Heave is that sound you make when you like pull something really heavy. You're like, it's just like pulling it. So we can say with a deep heave, a shimmering. I can use shimmering to describe the skin of the fish. A shimmering or a glittering. And then I say thrashing to signify how it's moving about. The fish broke the surface of the water, comma. I can even put a full stop and I can say I can describe the color. What color do you want the fish to be? Give me a color that you want the fish to be.
Green.
Green or gray?
Gray.
Gray. Okay, and then we can say it's metallic scales. So I can say it's metallic gray scales. Again, I'm just using adjectives to describe the color catching the sunlight as it was yanked from the river. And the boy's gasps. Say as he yanked, I'll say as he yanked it from the river and his breath came out in short, excited gasps. Something like this. So what you need to do is understand what goes into that act. So like the boy pulling out a large fish out of the river, we're focused on the fact that a young boy must need a lot of strength, correct? He must need a lot of strength, a lot of pressure, a lot of energy, a lot of effort to pull a fish out of the water. So we focus on those aspects that, okay, the boy was young, so maybe he needed a lot of energy, maybe his arms were straining, maybe he was in pain, maybe his face was in pain. We can focus on these different features of these different struggles that the boy might have been going through as he does something or as he pulls something out. And then we focus on the looks of the fish. Describe the fish. So instead of me just saying something like simple gray scales, which sounds very boring, I said metallic gray scales. Metallic again gives us the idea that the scales were shining, which is how the fish usually looks, right? Even the silver gray fishes, they're very shiny. So the word metallic again just emphasizes that particular color, just highlights a particular color and how it is shining as it catches the sunlight. Okay. So for the next one, I'll explain it to you. Are you ready to do the next one? I'll break it down for you and then I want you to try it on your own, okay? Are you listening?
Yes, miss, I'm listening.
Okay, so over here we have a character, which is the girl. So you can choose to describe what the girl looks like. You can talk about the girl being tall, the girl being short, maybe she's wearing her hair open, maybe her hair is blowing in the wind, okay? Maybe she's wearing a bright red skirt that makes her stand out. So you can describe what the girl looks like. And then when you describe the busy intersection, you can talk about sound. The busy intersection means that there was a lot of honking, there was a lot of tires squealing, there was a lot of sound of people talking because it was a busy intersection. Intersection meaning a junction or a corner of the road, right? Where a lot of roads meet, where you can decide whether you want to go left or right or straight or backwards. So an intersection is where a lot of roads meet. So you can describe the girl, you can describe the busy intersection, like what's happening. There's a lot of cars, there's a lot of people. And then we're talking about witnessing an accident as it happened. So you can describe the accident. You can say that the blue car, again, you can use color and you can say the blue car came rushing down the street and you could hear the squealing of the brakes as it tried to stop itself from crashing into the car before it, but that didn't happen. And then you can talk about this smoke that was coming out. You can be very descriptive about what happened in the accident. You can talk about the broken glass. You can talk about the smoke that's coming out of the bonnet of the car, anything. But you can divide it into different sections and talk about the different sections. So you can talk about the girl, you can talk about the busy intersection, and you can talk about the accident. So you have three different things to describe. Do you think you'll be able to come up with a sentence each? And then combine it all into one show sentence, one showing sentence?
Yes, miss, I can do this.
All right, perfect. Go ahead and try it out. It's all about synonyms. So you can use different words for stood, watched, lingered, um, was a statue, was stuck on the corner in surprise, anything like that. A lot of synonyms.
Miss, I've done writing the paragraph.
Okay, can you send it to me?
Okay, Miss. Miss, can I read it? Because I have my phone in the. Actually, I don't have my phone right now, Miss. Like,
Okay,
is
you
someone.
can read it and I'll try and write it.
Okay, Miss. The wrinkled wise girl stood on the corner
Slowly,
of.
slowly, slowly.
The wrinkled wise girl.
The wrinkled eyes.
Wise girl.
Nice.
Wise.
Wise?
Yeah.
Okay. Wise girl.
Stood on the corner
Mm-hmm. Continue.
of the busy intersection.
Mm-hmm.
Miss, now I have my phone, Miss.
Okay, okay. Just send me what you've written. Are you sending it to me on WhatsApp?
Yeah,
Okay.
Miss.
Okay, okay, just got it. Okay. It's the printed down. Now, um, one, this word here, quinted, I don't know what it's supposed to mean. I haven't heard this word before. Good use of blue. I like that you've used blue, so I'll put that in yellow. That's nice. Even the word accelerated is nice. But again, there's a lot of telling in this sentence. Like you're telling us the accident happened. We don't want that. We don't want you to use these words of the accident happened. I want you to take it completely out of the sentence. Right? So I'll put it in red because we don't want it, right? Even this explanation of the busy intersection, I want you to explain that it's a busy intersection. I want you to explain that it's busy and not tell me that it's busy, okay? So what could we have said instead of this? Let me tell you what we could have done. So one, we talk about the girl, right? So the girl, and then we use a synonym for stood. We can say lingered. Lingered, like she just stood there doing nothing, just watching at the corner. The hum of traffic buzzing around her. The hum of traffic buzzing around her tells us that she was at a very busy place, right? But we're not using the words busy intersection. We're avoiding those words. We're explaining that wherever she was, it was very busy. And then I can say suddenly her eyes widened because your eyes widen up when you see something shocking or something surprising. So her eyes widened as the screech of tires, the sound the tires make as it tries to brake, sliced through the air. So the sound of these tires interrupted all of the sounds in the air. It sliced through the air. Okay, and then we have a car slammed into another. The car slammed into another with a sickening crunch. And she froze. And she froze as she saw it happen, her heart pounding as the scene unfolded before her. So again, we explained the accident without using the accident term. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? We talked about the busy intersection without using the words busy intersection. We change those words up because that's what showing is versus telling, right? So we're not going to say exactly this is an accident. However we explain it, we'll tell the audience that this was an accident, but we're not going to actually use the word accident. That's how it goes when we use showing versus telling, okay? Now I want you to try out number 3, which is the woman had a terrible headache. So again, we're going to keep the woman as is, okay? We're not going to change who the woman is. Maybe we can say the old woman or the young woman, okay? Maybe that's the only thing that we can change is maybe the age of the woman. But how can we explain that she had a terrible headache instead of using the word headache? You can talk about how her head, if it felt as though there was a throbbing behind her head, it felt as though someone was hammering her head, it felt as though she couldn't open her eyes in the light. I want you to describe what a
Miss,
headache feels like. Sorry, go ahead.
Miss, um, can I have like it's hard for me those telling not showing, Miss.
It's okay, that's why we're practicing, right? Even if it's hard, we're practicing for this reason so that we can improve it. And the only way you can improve is you keep trying. So there's nothing wrong with getting it wrong, right? We talked about it. It's okay if you get it wrong. We'll still learn and we'll improve. And this is simpler. This is simpler than the other one. The other one was a bit hard. This one is very easy. All you have to describe is a headache. Have you had headaches before?
Yeah, Miss.
No, never?
I had, Miss.
Okay, how does it feel like?
Freezing?
How does your headache feel? Like, does it feel like someone is sitting on your head? Does it feel like there's a heavy weight on your head? Does it feel like there's this pounding in your head? How would you describe your headache to someone? How would you tell someone what the headache feels like?
Surrendering?
Okay. So why don't you try put that into writing? Why don't you use that feeling of how you felt when you had a headache to describe how the woman felt as she had a headache? So instead of saying I, you have to say the woman. The woman felt a pounding in her head, or the woman felt something in her head. I want you to just describe it without using the word headache. Do you think you can try it? It's shorter, it's easier, and it's something that you've experienced before. So you can take note from your personal experiences. Do you think you can try this out?
But like I've not learned for like the synonyms, Miss.
So let's look at the synonyms. What are the synonyms of terrible? What synonyms can you come up with?
Horrible,
Horrible. What else?
miserable,
Miserable.
terrifying,
Terrifying. Good. Awful.
hideous.
Hideous. Sure. But hideous is more to do with looks. But I'll send you the list anyways. You can look at the list. But you'll have to be able to separate and differentiate between which ones are more physical and which ones are more technical, right? So these are the list of adjectives. I'm going to send it to you in the Zoom chat. So you can go through those. And then what can you use to describe a headache? Just like some pain in your head, a throbbing in your head, right? So we're not going to use headache. We can use head, but we're not going to use the word ache. We're just going to say terrible pain, terrible feeling, anything like that. Do you think after seeing this list of synonyms, you can maybe attempt to build a sentence? Like appalling, dreadful, atrocious, horrific, uh, heinous, severe, extreme, tense, excruciating, insufferable, intolerable, unbearable, agonizing, distressing. These are the words that you can use to describe a headache, the ones that I've highlighted for you.
Miss, I have a question.
Yes.
Like, how can I like speak, Miss?
Speak in what? Speak where?
With my friends, Miss?
About what? Just generally?
Yeah. How can I speak, Miss?
Just the way you're speaking with me. You speak absolutely fine. Hi, how are you? You can talk about things that you like if both of you like football, or you can ask him, what are the things that you like doing in your free time? And then he tells you, I like to read. And if you also like to read, you can discuss the books that you like to read with each other. You can discuss your favorite books. If he says, I like to play sports, you can ask him, what sports do you like to play? Then he can tell you, I like soccer. And you can tell him, oh, I like soccer too. And then you can discuss what your favorite teams are. So if you don't know anything about your friend, you can always start by asking them questions, what they like doing, what are their favorite subjects, what are their hobbies. Then when you get to know a little bit of information about them, like what their favorite things are, what their hobbies are, and if you think that there's anything similar that you like that he also likes, you can also discuss that with him. Oh, I like that too. My favorite is this. Oh, you like watching anime? My favorite character is this person. Do you know this person? And that's how the conversation continues. So you ask questions. When your friend answers, you pick something that you have information on, you pick something that's familiar to you, and you add more information to it. And then you can ask other questions, and then the conversation builds. But always to start the conversation, you must know something about your friend, right? So you can start by learning things about them first.
Miss,
Mhm.
like, I don't know how to speak, Miss.
You're speaking absolutely fine with me. Why do you feel like you can't speak? There's nothing wrong with your speaking. I've not noticed anything wrong. You're just you're not very confident, but you're not speaking badly. So it's just about being confident in yourself. Okay, being able to use the right words, being able to say something, just being comfortable and confident is the best thing for being able to speak properly.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, let's try out this sentence.
Miss,
Yes, did you finish the sentence?
what sentence should I finish, miss?
The woman had a terrible headache. We discussed the synonyms of it as well. I want you to try and construct a showing sentence for it.
Miss, can you describe the woman, miss?
You have to do both, right? That's the complete sentence.
Miss, I make a sentence, miss.
All right, let me just pull it up. Have you sent it in the on WhatsApp?
No, miss, can I read it, miss?
Sure.
The frustrated woman had an agonizing, awful throbbing striking her big head.
The old woman had a,
The frustrated woman
oh, the frustrated woman had, and then tell me what you said after that.
had a agonizing,
And then
awful,
awful.
throbbing striking her big head.
Okay, now what happened here is that even though these are all correct words, you're not supposed to use so many of them together. Just one of the words would have been more than enough. We don't need so many of these words describing the same headache, right? Because all of them mean the same thing. So it doesn't
Miss,
make sense that we have so many at the same time. Yeah, what are you saying?
miss, I'm saying it is her, miss. Her big head, miss.
Her big head.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. But again, striking, throbbing, awful, agonizing, they all mean the same thing, right? They all mean the same thing. So why should we use so many of them? Why not use just one? So let me tell you what we could have alternatively done is that we could have said, let me put it in the chat box for you. I don't even have to say that the woman was frustrated or the woman was old. I can just say that the woman pressed her fingers to her temples. Temples are the side of our head, right? Right above our eyebrows on the side. That part is called the temples. And she was wincing as a sharp pain pulsed behind her eyes, because obviously you can feel the headache behind your eyes as well, right? So the most prominent headache can always be felt behind your eyes. And then I can continue and say that every sound, because whenever you're suffering from a headache, the sounds are all loud and annoying and they're just getting in the way of things. So we can say that every sound seemed amplified, and the light in the room made her squint in agony. So again, we've used agony to kind of just describe terrible. We've talked about agony to describe how horrific or how painful that particular headache felt. So agony is one of the words that we've used as a synonym. And then we can say that she closed her eyes, hoping for some relief as she rubbed her aching head. I've sent it to you in the Zoom chat. It can be something that you can just read over the course of today, and then tomorrow we can expand more on it.
Okay, Miss, can I take a photo like of the Zoom chat?
I'll send, yeah, you can take a photo of it, but I'll try and send you this PDF file by tonight.
Okay.
All right, perfect. So we'll just continue this tomorrow. I'll try and send you a video. Just send me a reminder message. I'll send you a video at night that you can watch before our class tomorrow. Okay?
Okay, Miss.
All right, perfect. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
Miss, tomorrow I'm going to the hospital, Miss.